I want to make a little bit of a rant video here again today. I know a lot of people are going to say, 2 rant videos in a row? What are you, on your period? No, I'm not on a period. I'm a little bit too old for that now. But I wanted to address some things that came up during the video I posted yesterday. Yesterday I posted a video about people doing reckless things because they see instructors or other people do it on YouTube. And the things I mentioned the most were the quick draw fighting where someone comes in and grabs you and you draw your gun and shoot them in the face 3 times. Stuff like that. And appendix carry especially. So I said some things about that, and people come back and go, "Oh, you're wrong," or challenge me on some of the things I said. So I want to address those today. And like I said, I don't have this written down or anything, so bear with me. I'm going to try to address things and keep in line here. I know I look down a lot while I'm talking, so people think that I actually have notes down here or something. I don't. I just have like a stack of things like sights and stuff I need to put on guns and stuff like that, projects I need to finish. And as I'm talking, they kind of distract me because, well, for one, some of them are shiny. But I want to address some stuff that people said in my video yesterday. Now, one of the things a lot of people said something about is where I said, you're more likely to injure yourself with your firearm than you are to shoot and kill another person in self-defense. People are like, well, where are you getting that number from? Man, you're making that up. No, I'm not making that up. I'm simply looking at readily available facts that any of you on the internet could have found if you simply went to the Harvard studies, the CDC numbers, etc. Every year when it comes to gun deaths in this country, they're broken down into categories. Now, the category that has legal shoots, where a citizen has defended themselves against another attacker legally with a handgun, is a tiny little certain percentage. And then there's also a percentage of people that have killed themselves unintentionally, not suicides, but unintentionally killed themselves with their handgun. And when you look at those two numbers, the times people unintentionally kill themselves with their handgun is almost 5 times greater than the number of times they actually kill somebody else. So that number is easily found, easily looked up. So now let's move on to what I said about, appendix carry being a reckless way to carry. Now, a lot of people were like, well, how can you call that reckless? Well, reckless by definition means doing something that has some inherent dangers without thoughtfully and, proficiently and thoroughly examining the possible negatives of that action. Being very thoughtful and very mindful of the possible negatives of your action. That's the definition of reckless. So if you're appendix carrying, thinking that it's just as safe as carrying other ways, well, then you are by definition being reckless because you have no idea of the inherent dangers in appendix carry. Now, some people thought I was saying, don't you dare appendix carry. I wasn't saying don't you dare appendix carry. If you want to appendix carry, appendix carry. In fact, a lot of people in that video asked me, well, I want to appendix carry. And I'm like, well, then go ahead and do it. The only person you're risking the safety of is yourself. You're only endangering yourself, so I really don't care. And if you're someone that does blow your nuts off or shoot yourself in the femoral artery while appendix carrying, probably the gene pool is probably better off, so why would I care either way? So I'm not telling you don't carry. All I'm telling you is to carry the way you want to, but consider the actual risks and see if the benefits of that outweigh the risks. Because with appendix carry, there are some benefits, but do they outweigh that risk that if you have an accident, that it's going to be likely a fatal accident, or very much more likely a fatal accident? Because once you start looking at the number of times people unintentionally injure themselves with their firearm, when you take out headshots where people have committed suicides, the most dangerous shot placements, the place that kills most people when they shoot themselves with their gun, is groin and inner thigh. How do you think so many people are shooting themselves in the groin and inner thigh? That's a very dangerous place to shoot yourself. You shoot yourself in the leg and the outer thigh, probably not going to be a life-threatening injury. We've all seen Tex Grebner's video where he does it, and people are like, well, yeah, Tex Grebner did it. Look at him. He shot himself in the thigh with an outside waistband holster. Yeah, actually, he was doing some kind of stupid things with, in my opinion, an unsafe holster anyway, and he owned up to it, and he shot himself. And guess what? He told the story later because he lived, because it wasn't life-threatening. In fact, it wasn't even that major. He didn't lose his leg or anything. So that just goes to show you. You don't see a lot of people online saying, hey, I was drawing from my appendix carry and I shot myself in the thigh and I was so stupid. You know why they don't see that? Because they're dead. Because that's a very dangerous injury. So pretending that it's the same, that's not true. You have to consider the risks. Like I had someone tell me, I carry appendix because at work, I'm not allowed to carry. I'm doing it against the rules. And if I get caught, I'll be fired. So that guy, I'm like, fine. As long as you understand the risks, you've got a good reason why one of the benefits of appendix carry outweighs the risks to you. So carry however you want, but do so in an informed manner. Now, that also brings up the idea that people are saying, well, no matter how you carry, you're always pointing your gun at yourself somewhere. People actually said that. And I'm like, what, are you a moron? Although I have to kind of give them a little leeway, because I went and watched some of the videos of the instructors that are trying to promote inside the waistband carry, or actually not promote, but justify. They're trying to justify their opinions, and they actually say that in the video, and that's stupid. It's incredibly stupid. That's not true at all. There's a reason why the gun safety rules exist, and there's a reason why we carry in the ways we carry, because we abide by those rules. You have to say those rules don't matter to you, or you're willing to ignore them, or you have to admit that they're there for a reason, and some of the ways we carry actually adhere to those rules. If you look at my gun on my hip right now, my SIG P320, this is cut for suppressor sights. You can very easily follow the sight line down, and you can see I'm not flagging myself with this gun at all. I'd have to have a really big ass for this to be flagging me right now, for this to be muzzling me. Now, I guess if I did a jazzy little heel kick while I was carrying my gun, then I might shoot myself in the ankle. But, you know, I try to keep my dance choreography to a minimum while I'm carrying a gun, so I don't think that's going to be a risk. And as you can see here, as I draw my gun in slow motion, I'm not coming anywhere near flagging myself. That gun barrel has never crossed any part of my body, especially not a part of my body that could kill me within 30 seconds with one shot. Even if I go into a ready position, which is very likely if you're in a threatening situation where I put one leg back, even if I put the leg back that I carry my gun on, my strong leg back, I'm still not actually crossing my body with my gun barrel anywhere that could cause me serious injury. So that whole notion that all carry methods are the same, that's just ignorance. And you know, if you go and look at these videos of these instructors that are trying to justify appendix carry as being a totally safe way to carry, if you look at the video on their channel, you'll notice there's a few comments and they're all very supportive. But, and I'm not going to single out any specific video because I don't want to start a feud here, but there's one specifically. If you go, and this is pretty much true of all of them, if you go look at where they've been reposted on a place like Guns America or AR-15, etc., if you go look at those places where they're posted, there's a lot more comments, and pretty much every one of them is tearing apart the ridiculous garbage that just came out of the guy's mouth in the video. So you get kind of a different picture when it's not in a format where they can only let their fanboys post and delete everything else. So just be a little bit aware of the risks of appendix carry. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying doing it because some stupid instructor tries to justify it to you. He gives you the benefits without giving you the risks. That's reckless. So don't do that. Don't be reckless. Oh, and as far as starting feuds is concerned, some people were concerned about the picture that I chose for the thumbnail of my video yesterday. They thought I was calling that person out. I was not calling that person out. I was just using that picture as an example because I found it on the internet. And let's be honest, even though he's trying really, really hard to make sure his gun is straight up and down so that it's not touching his legs anywhere or actually crossing his legs anywhere, it still kind of is. And also, if he was to draw his gun right there where it is right now, he's got his hand on it, I assume he's either drawing it or reholstering it. And if he draws it, I assume he's going to have to reholster it. Right now, unless he's got his dick and balls tucked between his ass cheeks, he's got some serious potential issues there. Now, another thing I want to address is quite a few people said, as long as you keep your booger hook off the trigger, you'll be fine. That's ridiculous. That's some sort of platitude that you hear people like bad instructors say. You'll never say, oh, just don't pull the trigger and you'll be fine. That's got nothing to do with being tactical and being prepared. Being tactical, being prepared means you aren't prepared for when everything goes right, so just do all the right things to make sure nothing goes wrong. Being prepared means you are able to handle the consequences when things go wrong. So if you're reholstering your weapon and it goes off accidentally, maybe a piece of fabric gets in the trigger or something like that goes wrong. And believe me, when things can go wrong, they usually will go wrong eventually. So being prepared means you're doing things in a way that if that happens, you can actually deal with it. Not bleed out in 15 seconds because you just shot yourself in the groin. Now, a lot of people will say to me, I carry appendix carry because, you know, if I'm ever grappling with someone, I can get to it. It's the one place in my body I know I can get to. Well, that's not true. When most people want to fight you, they don't want to come at you straight on. I mean, that's, you know, barroom bullshit. If someone's going to attack you, they're usually going to come at you from behind, and they're going to put you in like a headlock or a chicken wing and wrap you up. If they do that, you're not going to get to your gun. If they control access to your arms, you're not getting your gun no matter where it is. And if they even just put you in a simple chokehold, all they got to do is wrap their legs around your waist. They can block your access to your gun. So there's no place on your body you can always get to your gun. That's ridiculous. Well, another thing about these videos that try to justify appendix carry as being a safe method of carry, watch their videos. Not the one where they try to justify it and they go, oh, all you gotta do is stand like this when you draw and you're fine. I'm saying watch their other videos. And then just take a little tick sheet of how many times they flag their inner thigh or their groin with their gun while they're actually doing other videos and they're not really thinking about trying to prove a point. Do that and then contact them and see what their response is. Now, I do want to go back a little bit here and talk about where I was talking about grappling a few minutes ago. And people say, I can get to my gun when I'm grappling if I appendix carry. If you've gotten to the point where you're grappling with someone, especially someone who's unarmed, then you've made some really big mistakes up to that point. In your toolbox, you have to have the tools that allow you as a person to avoid getting into shouting matches, shoving matches, and grappling with people while you're armed. If you don't have that ability, if you don't have that ability to walk away and to make sure you don't get into those close proximity situations, if you don't have those abilities, if you can't walk away while someone calls you names and you're armed and they're not, if you can't do that, then you probably don't possess the tools that you need to carry a gun, and you might want to work on those first before you work on your tactics with your gun. At no time while you're carrying a gun should you ever escalate anything. You definitely don't want to escalate a shoving match or someone grabbing you or even throwing a punch at you. You don't want to escalate a scuffle to a murder because you're going to jail. I actually had people ask me, well, why would I go to jail if someone grabbed my arm and I pulled my gun and shot him? Figure it out, brainiac. So, just be aware of things like that. Don't just follow these people and think, well, they're doing it on YouTube, so I thought it was okay. That's not going to be a defense in court, trust me. So in the end, basically, once again, I'm going to reiterate, if there's any instructor out there that wants to come on, do a live debate with me about appendix carry, the pros and cons, come on in. State your opinion clearly and come on in, especially those ones that try to pretend like it's not more dangerous than other methods of carry. Those are the ones I especially want to talk to. If you're a trainer or someone that thinks that it's not more dangerous than other methods of carry, if you only promote the positives and don't make people aware of the negatives, come on in, let's have a little chat. Let's see how well you stand up to actual scrutiny when you can't delete comments from your videos that you make. So all I'm telling people out there, don't engage in reckless behavior just because you see professionals on the internet do it. Be aware of the risks, be aware of the positives, be aware of the negatives, and make the best decision that you can possibly make for yourself.